This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Everyone broke out in cold sweat when they heard the conversation between the two. They were probably the only ones who would dare to say such things. Yang Ping kept muttering in his heart, "Please don't destroy the teleportation formation again. If that happens, I'll really be crying without tears." Impudent. Do you know who my lord is? They really deserve to die. The martial artist who had spoken was furious. Without saying a word, a sword light shot out from his body and he rushed forward as one with the sword. The golden chi was pressing and the cold intent spread out. Although he could not see through Mo Xiaochuan's cultivation base, he could see Yunxiao's one-star martial emperor level at a glance. In martial arts, only people of the same realm could fight with each other, and the gap between their strength was too big. Since Mo Xiaochuan and Yunxiao were talking and laughing so intimately, their strength was naturally about the same. Mo Xiaochuan gently extended 2 fingers and pinched the tip of the sword. With a gentle twist, the sword was broken into 7 or 8 pieces. Then, he turned his fingers into a palm and pushed it forward. The wind from his palm swept up the broken blades and twisted them into an overbearing palm force. Bang bang bang. Several broken blades pierced through the body of the man who was attacked by the flying sword, and 7 or 8 large holes immediately appeared on his body. He let out a blood-curdling scream and spat out a mouthful of blood in the air like a fountain. He was also sent flying and fell to the ground, dead. I'm scared. This swift action was done in the blink of an eye. Before the other 7 martial artists could react, they saw their arrogant and overbearing companion turn into a corpse. They were so scared that they took a few steps back. You have guts. Gongsun Zhan's expression changed drastically, and he turned his fiery eyes to look at Mo Xiaochuan. His pupils contracted when he saw Mo Xiaochuan. No wonder someone dared to ignore my dignity. It turns out that there's a martial sovereign among them. Don't you know that there's still a huge difference even if we're all martial sovereigns of the 9 heavens? So you know about it too, Mo Xiaochuan laughed. Gongsun Zhan gradually calmed down. He was no fool. In fact, no one who could cultivate to the rank of a martial supreme was a fool. He couldn't tell how strong his opponent was, but he was sure that his fearless attitude was real. After advancing to the martial supreme realm, one could control the rules of heaven and earth at will. With a raise of one's hand, one would possess the power of rules. Therefore, even martial supremes would find it difficult to see the other party's depth. They could only find out after they had tried. However, if the gap between them was huge, the result would be disastrous. Tell me your name first, I don't fight with nameless people. Gongsun Zhan was afraid and didn't dare to attack rashly. He wanted to get some information from the other party's words first. This was also a common way of talking among martial sovereigns. Mo Xiaochuan chuckled. You're so funny. Get lost. You coward. Gongsun Zhan's face was ashen from anger as he sat on the palanquin, looking extremely embarrassed. One of his subordinates had died for no reason, so how could he just leave after losing so much face? However, if he wanted to fight, the other party's fearless and calm appearance made his heart beat like a drum. Moreover, his real goal was not to snatch the teleportation order. There was no need for him to have any conflict or even conflict with a martial supreme. This place is too small. If a fight breaks out, I'm afraid that the teleportation formation that has just been repaired will be damaged again. That's why it's so weak, he said. Mo Xiaochuan interrupted him impatiently. I can kill you in a matter of minutes. How dare you think that the teleportation array will be affected? You're overthinking it. How arrogant. I'm so angry. Gongsun Zhan couldn't hold it in any longer. His opponent had humiliated him without any mercy. If he could still swallow this, then what had happened today would definitely become a knot in his heart in the future. It was very likely that his cultivation would stop, and it might even develop into a demon in his heart. The essence of martial Tao was to never turn back and to press forward with indomitable will. How could an ordinary person be able to cultivate to the rank of a martial supreme? Gong Zhan understood this as well. Mo Xiaochuan's mockery had reached a point where he had no choice but to attack. His anger was instantly buried, and he appeared as calm as still water. He was like a completely different person. The people in the surroundings trembled all over. It was as if they had been next to a volcano that was about to erupt, afraid that they would be burned to ashes by the lava that would spew out at any moment. However, at this moment, it was as if he was in an ice cellar, and he could be frostbitten by the frosty chi at any time. Not bad, Yunxiao praised with a smile. You can stop your anger and control your emotions perfectly. Your cultivation is indeed not bad. He was praising Gong Zhan, but to Gong Zhan's ears, it sounded like he was mocking him. Gong Zhan's emotionless heart immediately began to stir, and a trace of anger appeared on his face. A cold light flashed in his hand, and sword chi flew out. Sword sweeping through the heavens and breaking the vast. The sword contained a vast and boundless feeling, giving people a kind of carefree and relaxed spirit, the spirit of the vast heaven and earth. Good sword, this idiot has some skills. Be careful, Li Yunxiao said. Don't let it be destroyed again. After saying this, he flashed to the nearby area like everyone else. A martial supreme's sword force could even turn his initial stage inextinguishable golden body into ashes in an instant. No wonder you're so blind, you really have some skill. Mo Xiaochuan took a step back with his right foot, and a golden light spread out under his feet, enveloping the entire teleportation formation in the golden light. He was afraid that the formation would be destroyed by the chi of the two. After that, he waved his fists in front of him. Vital chi gathered from all directions along with his fists, and the sword was caught between his fists. The control of his power was extremely exquisite. He did not let the slightest bit of the aftermath spread out to prevent the shock from hurting the people nearby. Gong Zhan was shocked. Just this move alone showed that the other party's control of power was far superior to his. However, just fine control was not enough. The most important thing in determining victory was still absolute strength. He poured his emperor chi into the longsword, which instantly shot out beams of light that broke through the vital chi defense in Mo Xiaochuan's hand. He pushed the sword 3 feet forward and stabbed it straight at Mo Xiaochuan's heart. Mo Xiaochuan's expression was as calm as ever. The wind from his fist shook the sword, creating an ear-piercing melody. He was bitter that he couldn't move his feet. Otherwise, once he moved, the formation would easily be shattered by the Emperor Qi, and they wouldn't have time to carry out large-scale repairs. Clang clang clang. The fist shadow fluttered around his body like a butterfly. Under the punch, more than 30 layers of Qi strength piled up and pressed down, one powerful one after another. Gong Zhan's long sword was under great pressure. The sword changed its direction and stabbed out. The sword chi continued to shoot out from the tip of the sword, piercing through the void within 1,000 meters. The people in the surroundings were so shocked that their faces turned green. If anyone had been pointed at by the long sword just now, they would have been instantly finished. It was true that mortals were involved in a fight between immortals. You're fighting with me, and you're still trying to protect the array. How arrogant. Gong Zhan's confidence was greatly boosted after the first strike. He swept his sword horizontally, and the sword light condensed into an illusionary shadow outside the sword body, as if it had a sword spirit. It brought a bloodthirsty aura to people, and it slashed down without mercy. Mo Xiaochuan's right foot did not leave the ground as he turned his body. 2 of his fingers formed a sword gesture as he pointed at his opponent's sword shadow in the air and shouted, "If it weren't for the fact that you had to protect the formation, do you think you would still be alive?" Bang bang. The finger power turned into a sword and was instantly destroyed by the sword shadow. Gong Zhan's sword was so powerful that he wanted to turn the sword shadow into ashes. Mo Xiaochuan's expression finally changed. Half of his power was channeled to his right foot to protect the formation. His movements were restricted and he was restricted in every way. Bitches are so pretentious. They clearly see the gap between you and me, but they don't know how to back off. And you're still vainly thinking of using my defensive spell formation, you can take advantage of this. Even so, stay here forever. A powerful sword chi burst forth from Emo Xiaochuan's body. Just by standing there, he seemed to have transformed into an invincible divine weapon that was about to be unsheathed. Just the power of the sword was enough to make Gongsun Zhan's sword stop for a moment, as if it had sensed something dangerous. The sword suddenly let out a long, ear-piercing sound, as if it was warning him. Not good. Gongsun Zhan was shocked, and he tried to put away his sword and run away. It was only at this moment that he realized how terrifying Emo Xiaochuan was. It turned out that Emo Xiaochuan had only been a warm-up for him. Under the sword chi, he only felt cold all over and no longer had any will to fight. You want to leave? You've already eaten shit? Emo Xiaochuan's cold voice rang out as he raised his right arm. The shape of a sword seemed to have appeared on his right arm, shimmering with a dim light. Li Feiyu's pupils contracted as he stared in shock at Emo Xiaochuan's right hand. He couldn't tell if it was a real sword or just a sword-shaped one, but the sword intent was so powerful that it rippled through the entire courtyard, causing everyone to feel a chill in their hearts. Yunxiao's expression changed slightly as well. He stared at the sword intent with a smile in his eyes, as if he appreciated it very much. The mortal world gazes at Ing Hao Yu. The sword technique was the Emo family's Thousand Conqueror noble art, and it was much more powerful than Yunxiao's. Because he had learned the technique from his ancestor, it was a world of difference from the superficial technique that Yunxiao had only seen a few times. As the sword light came down, a sea of sword chi spread out. All the warriors within a few miles were trapped in this sea of sword chi. They held their breath in horror and didn't dare to make the slightest movement. It was as if they would be immediately cut into pieces by the sword chi, or even be reduced to nothing. Arg. Stop, I'm just a buy-in. Gongsun Zhan was completely terrified. He shuddered and screamed, but his voice was instantly drowned out by the sea of swords. Not only him, but the 7 warriors behind him also died without even a scream, as if they had never existed in this world. A huge chasm split open from the ground, with Emo Xiaochuan's right foot as the tip. It extended for 1,000 meters, and its depth was unknown. TSK. You don't know what's good for you, you're wasting sword intent. Emo Xiaochuan snorted contemptuously, then turned to Yunxiao and said, Young Master Yun, how was that sword strike? His eyes were full of expectation, hoping to get his master's approval. Li Feiyu and the others were already covered in cold sweat. They were so shocked that they had forgotten how to move. Their nerves were too tense to relax, and they couldn't even move their necks. They could only cough dryly, unable to make a sound. Big brother, you're amazing. Emo Huayuan was overjoyed and praised sincerely. I wonder what's Big Brother's cultivation base now. The strength of that sword strike, according to my estimation, is at least a 3-star martial sovereign. Emo Xiaochuan smiled triumphantly, but his eyes never left Yunxiao, as if only Yunxiao's affirmation was true. Yunxiao smiled as well, but he said indifferently, there's no need to use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. You're too lazy. Emo Xiaochuan heaved a sigh of relief, as if he was afraid that his master would be dissatisfied with his performance. Yunxiao's lack of criticism was already the best praise. As for saying that he was too lazy, it meant that he could have continued to fight and defeat the other party, but he was too lazy to do so and directly killed the other party. I'm just afraid that he'll waste everyone's time. Everyone listened to his laughter, but no one laughed. Their stiff bodies began to slowly melt, and they could move slightly. A 9 Heavens martial sovereign, who was extremely arrogant a few minutes ago and had a little reputation in the North region, was directly annihilated by him after just a few moves. No one but Yunxiao and himself could laugh. Let's go. We've wasted a lot of time. There are only 7 days left. I'm afraid that little girl has already become an ant on a hot nest. Yunxiao could not help but laugh when he thought of Dingling's impatient look. Little girl? Is it Shizhenjin? Oh, Madam Li? Emo Xiaochuan's eyes lit up as he began to gossip. You'll know when you get there, Yunxiao said with a smile. It's very likely that you'll see an old friend. Mo Xiaochuan's heart skipped a beat and he exclaimed in joy, could it be a swan and I? Yunxiao nodded and smiled. Since he already knows my whereabouts, he is probably already in Songhua City. Let's go. He stepped into the formation with Mo Xiaochuan following closely behind. After Li Feiyu regained his composure, he also walked into the formation. Big brother, we'll part here. If you're free, you must come to the holy region to find me. We'll meet again. Mo Huayuan couldn't bear it and even felt like crying. Stop it. Mo Xiaochuan scolded jokingly. You're an 8th-tier alchemist who's revered by thousands of people. I won't be able to face you if you cry. Yang Ping hurriedly piled up large amounts of primordial stones on the formation and said, we welcome everyone to come to Yufeng City again. Yunxiao smiled as he performed an incantation gesture. A large number of primordial stones instantly turned into ashes, and the spirit chi was sucked into the array. The entire array began to operate. Then, the three of them felt a huge tearing force, and their bodies were no longer in Yufeng City. They could feel all kinds of forces constantly surging from all directions, attacking their bodies and even their spiritual senses. This was something that was bound to happen in long-distance teleportation. Fortunately, the three of them were not ordinary people, and they were all indifferent. Soon, in the endless darkness, a spot of light appeared in front of them. It grew bigger and bigger until it was the size of a human. The three of them were already outside the void. They could hear a faint sound. Someone else has been teleported here. Quick, see if there's anyone here. Sigh, this is already the 13th batch today. They probably have no other choice. Get your spirits up. Can't you see that our captain's expression is getting worse and worse? Don't get yourself into trouble. The captain must have been scolded by the higher-ups, but this is not something we can decide. Perhaps Lord Li Feiyu is currently enjoying himself with a bunch of young and beautiful girls. How could this be? In a time like this, Lord Li Feiyu would not be so insensible. Something must have happened. After the three of them appeared in the void, they did not feel dizzy. They appeared in a space steadily. There were actually cultivators in armor and swords all around, and the atmosphere was strict and tense. Everyone's faces were cold. What's going on? Isn't this Songhua Yang City? It's a very undisciplined and peaceful city, Yunxiao said curiously. Why has everyone become so tense? The first voice cried out in surprise and joy, Lord Li Feiyu. It's Lord Li Feiyu, you've finally returned. All the armed martial artists in the surroundings became nervous at once. They were all filled with joy, as if their mission had been completed. Sir Li Feiyu has returned. The man from before hurriedly ran out and shouted. Brother Li, Yunxiao said with a playful smile, thanks to you, so many people have come to welcome us. It's a great honor. I've embarrassed myself in front of young Master Yun, Li Feiyu replied awkwardly. These people must think that I don't know the severity of the matter and didn't return for such a big matter. I'm afraid they're already anxious. Who's the one in charge here? Why are they surrounding the teleportation point like this? Are they going to be laughed at by the world? He shouted angrily. There were a total of 4 regional teleportation arrays in Songhua City. At the same time, there were also 4 teleportation points. This place was surrounded by people from the 10,000 Treasures building, and the other 3 places were probably no exception. A joke, Mo Xiaochuan sneered. How could it be a joke? With such boldness, it should make the people of the world tremble. Li Feiyu's forehead was dripping with cold sweat, and his eyes were about to spit fire. Although Myriad Treasure Store was the leader of the merchant union, doing this would probably cause many people to feel resistance. Feiyu, you're finally back. I was so worried. A loud and clear voice was heard. Before any light could be seen, an old man had appeared in front of the 3 of them. The old man was in high spirits and was dressed in a brocade robe. He did not look at Yunxiao and Mo Xiaochuan. Instead, he laughed and took Li Feiyu's hand, then said, perfectly fine. I was really afraid that something had happened to you, and we old fellows were so worried. Let's go back quickly and let the Vice Tower Master be at ease. Elder Ren. Li Feiyu flung the old man's arm away and bitterly smiled. How did you make such a big scene? Everyone is laughing at us. Elder Ren puffed out his chest and said matter-of-factly, a joke? Who dares to laugh at us? We call the shots in Songhua Yang City. If anyone dares to laugh at us, we'll make them scram. Domineering, domineering. Yunxiao clapped his hands and laughed. Li Feiyu was speechless for a moment before he hurriedly introduced, this is our sect's 7th elder, Ren Guangzhen. These two are good friends I made on the way here, young Master Yun and his friends. He did not know Mo Xiaochuan's name, so he could only introduce him in this way. If it wasn't for their help, I'm afraid I would still be trapped in Yufeng City, and I might not be able to make it in time for the grand meeting. Oh. Yufeng City? No wonder I couldn't find you even after I sent so many experts to look for you. You were in the corner of the north region. What's the situation? Ren Guangjuan did not pay much attention to the two of them after taking a glance at them. However, when his gaze fell on Mo Xiaochuan, he was slightly surprised, but that was all. Li Feiyu briefly explained the damage to the teleportation array and said, if it wasn't for young Master Yun and his friends, we'd be in real trouble this time. Ren Guanglin then sized Mo Xiaochuan up and said, Master Yuan Gaohan, who is in charge of the Sacred Zone's spiritualist, is your brother's master. And you entered Rain Summit City from South Fire City. Could it be that your brother is Mo Huayuan, and you are Mo Xiaochuan? Mo Xiaochuan's body trembled slightly as he exclaimed in shock, the Myriad Treasure Tower's information is actually so comprehensive and so detailed. Truly terrifying. There seemed to be a hidden meaning in his words. Old man Run, you know them? Li Feiyu asked in surprise. Ren Guanglin chuckled and shook his head, I don't know him, but one of Master Yuan Gohan's genius disciples is in Manhua City. He's a member of the Mo family in Black Iron City. Everyone in the world knows about this, let alone the most well-informed Myriad Treasures store. As for the brother of that genius disciple, Mo Huayuan, very few people know that he's you, Mo Xiaochuan. Oh, Li Feiyu frowned. It seems that Master Huayuan and Lord Mo Xiaochuan are quite famous, but why have I never heard of them? That's because the younger generation's time has passed. Ren Guanglin smiled. Right now, you 4 prodigies of the north are the most famous in the world. Mo Xiaochuan's reputation was even greater than his brother's back then because his master was the 3rd-ranked titled martial emperor. Li Feiyu was shocked. His body suddenly trembled as he involuntarily cried out, the 3rd martial sovereign, Gu Feiyang with the title army destroyer? Yunxiao's pupils constricted slightly before returning to normal. No one noticed that his emotions had been slightly disturbed at that moment. Yes. Back then, Lord Gu Feiyang was insufferably arrogant. It could be said that he was like the sun in the sky. His disciples were also famous throughout the world. What a pity, Chanqian. Ren Guanglin sighed. Li Feiyu also understood that the word pity was only used after Gu Feiyang's death. He looked at Mo Xiaochuan with respect. He did not expect this man to have such a powerful background. No wonder he was so powerful. However, if Mo Xiaochuan's background was so great that he was not only Gu Feiyang's disciple but also a member of the Mo family in Black Iron City, then what was the identity of Yunxiao, who he had protected like a servant? When he thought of this, he suddenly felt a headache, and even more so, a sense of fear. It seemed that he didn't dare to think further. Mo Xiaochuan laughed heartily. Master's incident happened a long time ago. It doesn't matter whether it's a pity or not. It doesn't matter at all. Ren Guangxuan looked at him strangely, and a trace of contempt flashed in his eyes, you're quite open-minded. A sage once said that time is the best healing potion. After a long time, you will be able to see through everything. Mo Xiaochuan acted as if he had seen the fickleness of the world, but Ren Guangjuan and Li Feiyu despised him in their hearts. After all, the 10 great martial sovereigns held a very high status in the hearts of all the martial artists. It's good that you've gotten over it. Ren Guangzhen said coldly, Feiyu, let's go. He did not seem to want to stay with Imo Xiaochuan any longer. As for Yunxiao, he had already ignored his cultivation base of a one-star martial emperor, and he did not even think that anyone was there. Li Feiyu's heart skipped a beat as his eyes flickered. He slowly opened his mouth and said, Young Master Yun, why don't you come to my myriad treasures store and let me do my part as the host?